This week in history, President Woodrow Wilson gets some very disturbing news. However, 4,743 days prior, children get some very exciting news. February 26, 1917, President Woodrow Wilson learns of the Zimmerman telegram. Now, the Zimmerman telegram was a telegram sent from the Germans to the German ambassador in Mexico. The Germans were wanting to bring Mexico into World War I against the United States to keep America from fighting in the European theater. This was very much a backfire plan. It really got the Americans into the war, and Mexico didn't even want to do it. I mean, Mexico was pretty smart. I mean, we beat them hands down very quickly, despite all the German promises. Also, in 1935, Hitler actually organizes the Luftwaffe, which is the German Air Force during World War II. Most notable for their bombing runs in the Battle of Britain in 1940, which destroyed a good chunk of London and many of the air bases in Britain. Also, on the 28th of February, Watson and Crick discovered the helical structure of DNA. Prior to 1953, we actually didn't know that DNA was kind of like a twisted ladder, and this is when we found out. They also won the Nobel Peace Prize for this, which is kind of funny. So I guess if you can discover a new shape, you can win the Nobel Peace Prize if it happens to be the shape of something else. So the question is, what types of shapes do you need to win the Nobel Peace Prize? Food for thought, you young ones. March 1st, this week in history. In 1781, the Articles of Confederation are ratified. Now, the Articles of Confederation, also when you get into history classes, especially with Mr. Bauer, he's probably just going to call them the AOC. The Articles of Confederation were the first true American government that we had. However, we scrapped them less than 10 years later for the Constitution. The Articles of Confederation were very weak and ineffective at governing the country. Also, in 1917, the Zimmerman telegraph was published to the general populace. During World War II in 1941, Bulgaria joined the Axis powers. Now, this is one thing that might be also interesting to note is Bulgaria always went with Germany. So during World War I, Bulgaria was a central power, and if I remember right, attacked Serbia and Romania. March 2nd, the date all kids should know. Hopefully, in 1904, Dr. Seuss was born. Now we have Cat in the Hat, Redfish, Bluefish, and all sorts of stuff that rhymes and all sorts of stuff. Sadly, I cannot put this entire video in rhyme. I am not that good. However, if he was doing this series, I could only imagine what it would sound like. 1966 in automotive history. Probably something that I would be very happy for myself. The 1 millionth Ford Mustang is manufactured. In my opinion, the Ford Mustang is almost equal to the Chevy Corvette starting in 1964. Now, and this is something to remember. You young kids who are just starting to learn about cars, remember, they quit making Mustangs after 1968. After that, they just made wannabes. So, enjoy the Mustang. It's a very nice car anyway. I really like Mustangs. On March 3rd, 1918, the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk is concluded and signed. Now, that treaty basically took Russia out of World War I just after the communists took over. It's kind of important because the Germans then moved all the troops they had on the Eastern Front to the Western Front and just basically put more Germans on the front lines for the Americans to have to go through. And the British and the French. On March 1st, on 1789, government under the US Constitution begins, which also shares this day with another very important event, the first inauguration of Abraham Lincoln, which basically set off the Civil War because one of the things that South Carolina said was that if Lincoln was ever inaugurated, they would secede from the Union. So they did. Hey, they at least kept their word. And threw a fit in the process. So, that is it for this week in history, and I will see you next week.